Edo State chapter of the People's Democratic Party has vowed to upturn the results of the September 21, 2024 governorship election in the state as the Governorship Election Petition Tribunal resumes sitting today. The Independent National Electoral Commission, it will be recalled, had declared Governor Monday Okpebholo of the All Progressive Congress as the winner of the election. The Edo PDP made the vow in a communique issued at the end of the meeting of the leadership of the party, including its governorship candidate, Edo Guber. In the communique endorsed by the secretary, Edo State PDP Caretaker Committee, Henry Tenebe, and made available to journalists on Sunday, stated that the meeting was convened by the chairman State Caretaker Committee, Dr. Tony Azegbemi. The party affirmed its position that it was robbed of victory and assured its supporters that it will reclaim the stolen mandate. The communique reads, after extensive deliberations on the state of the affairs of the party and Edo State, the following resolutions were reached. The party reaffirmed its resolve to reclaim the mandate truly given to it by the people of Edo State in the last governorship election. It called for the continuous support and prayers of all party faithful and the people of Edo State as PDP and its candidate progress on this arduous journey. The meeting acknowledged and deeply appreciated the commitment, loyalty, and steadfastness of party members and faithful supporters across Edo State, urging them never to relent in their support and prayers for the party and its leadership. The attendees expressed grave concern over the current state of Edo under the All Progressive Congress-led administration. The party observed with dismay that the state had suffered significant setbacks in the last few months. The PDP reaffirmed its unshakable commitment to the rule of law and upholding constitutional democracy in the state. The party strongly believes that law, order, and security are essential for the peace, progress, and development of Edo State and Nigeria as a whole. The party chairman unanimously passed a vote of implicit confidence in the State Caretaker Committee led by Dr. Tony Azegbemi and the party's candidate in the last governorship election, Dr. Edo Guber. George,
oh, yes.
What do you make of this story? PDP apparently is not backing down.
Well, what the acting party chairman of the states, in collaboration with other members of the party in the states, and that's their communique issued. What I understand by that is simple. The PDP is the opposition party in Edo State as it stands today. And they are believing, or they are thinking that the last election that brought in Monday Okpebholo, that is the incumbent governor, was rigged in favor of the APC. So that communique is like giving hope to their supporters that they can reclaim their mandate in the court. It is normal because as it is now in Edo State, it's a Nigerian thing, not just Edo State. Most of those PDP supporters who would have been disillusioned with the way things are going, who I will call fair weather party supporters, who don't see any hope, who don't see any lights at the end of the tunnel for the party, would have started making moves to join in the APC. So that communique is like, giving hope to the hopeless, telling their party supporters, to be hopeful that their mandate will be reclaimed, at the tribunal. Now, it is one thing to say this, and it is another thing, for you to prove your case in the court. It's a very difficult one, for the PDP to prove that they won that election in Edo State.
Why do you say that?
It is very difficult in the sense that election is not just election in a state. It's not something that is done in a unit. They need to get all their evidence from across all the polling units, to be able to convince the judges. It is not just okay for you to say I won this election. You need to prove beyond reasonable doubt. This as it is today, the incumbent government of Edo State is manned by an APC governor. Now the PDP is laying claim that they won the election. It is not just for you to come to say we won the election. You need to prove it. You need to prove it. You need to convince the judges, convince the tribunal that you actually won this election. And it's not by making just mere statement that will a kind of how do I put it? A statement that will call for pity for you.
Emotional,
you're kind of trying to emotionally blackmail the judges or something like that will call for pity, self-pity for you. You need to go beyond that to prove a point with verifiable fact and evidence to show that you won the election. And that's why I said it is very difficult for them. It is very, very difficult. But however, impossible is nothing. They will try their best. So that communique for me is the statement that they issue to give hope to their supporters that we're still on course, so that their supporters will remain intact. And it is permissible for an opposition political party to be like a watchdog, for the society, so that the government, the ruling government, will sit up. Because if nobody is challenging, if everybody keeps quiet and allow the ruling government to continue in the way they are going, they might just think that, well, we have conquered everywhere. So those things, issued in that communique for me is just a way of keeping their supporters, hopeful and alive that we're still on course. So beyond that, it will be very difficult for them to prove their case.
All right. Now, when you say it's going to be very difficult for them to prove their case, are you looking at, are there any antecedents? Are you looking at antecedents that, it is very difficult for appellants to win at the tribunal, election tribunal?
Like I said, impossible is nothing. What that means is that the possibility of them winning is there. But I said it will be difficult in the sense that there are some factors which one may not actually, see here on national television. But I believe it is very difficult for, in Nigeria. I'm talking about the antecedent of democratic elections that have been conducted, and how it has been difficult for people to prove their case
at the tribunal level.
At the tribunal, and even down to the Supreme Court level. Right. It's always been difficult. So that's the point I'm holding on to say it will be difficult for them, because the man sitting there will not sit back. I don't think he was just declared, even when nobody voted for him. There are evidences that he won, and that was why INEC declared him. Maybe the election may have been marred by some form of irregularities and here and there, isolated cases here and there that may have dented the overall outcome. But those things I don't think are enough for the court, to declare them.
Okay, talking about pre-election matters, because you touched there a little bit when you were talking about the fact that, it is possible that Okpebholo did win that election. Talking about the pre-election matters, you recall that PDP already had very serious, I think all the political parties in Edo State, APC, PDP, Labour Party had their issues. But, APC was smart enough to, they were able to arbitrate and reconcile the warring factions, and then much later one of them became the running mate for Okpebholo. And then moving forward, when you look at PDP, it was a different thing altogether. And then the then governor Obaseki had issues with a lot of persons, including the Oba of Benin at that time, which to a large extent put him at disfavor with the people, particularly in Benin, considering that Benin is an ancient kingdom and monarchy is taken seriously there. Now, on the other hand, you also look at a lot of PDP stalwarts, heavyweights, that defected towards the ending of the elections, nearing the elections. You also look at the deputy governor of Obaseki and the issues surrounding him, the controversies, and the fact that his supporters and himself also worked against PDP in the elections. Do you not see overwhelming factors that, one would say affected the outcome of the elections in Edo State?
You actually brought me into what I didn't want to discuss, because it's a known fact. We have discussed this matter earlier, even before the election that brought Monday Okpebholo as the governor. Those factors that determines voting pattern in our Nigerian politics here. Like you said, most of the internal wrangling in the PDP prior to the election led to their downfall, led to their failing. Many stalwarts from the party, left the party and pitched tent with Okpebholo. The issue of Shaibu, the deputy to Obaseki, is still fresh in our memory. And Taibu is holding sway in that northern part of the Edo State. So put all these things together, it was obvious.
And some obedience also gave their support. They didn't defect, but they gave their support.
Okay, good. Then you talked about Obaseki's challenge with the Oba of Benin. Put all this together. It will be obvious that Monday Obele won the election. He may not have been the best candidate at the time, but given the issues that surrounded the pre-election matters down to the election day, it was obvious to say that Monday Obele won the election. But in Nigeria, people have never taken whatever decision or whatever declaration made by INEC, especially in terms of result declaration. They have never taken it seriously. They just feel that one party that is stronger based on one or two factors rigged the election. Therefore, you will have to go to court. I have found it difficult to find out any election circle where people never, approach the courts.
The question would be: are there any election cycle that's
why I said. That's why sometimes this thing has to do with it has to do with perception of the election management body INEC over the years. The trust deficit between
has
been there between the people and that election management body, which is the INEC. But beyond that, from what you and I have just said, all the factors that determines voting pattern in Nigeria. Oba of Benin not being in good terms with Obaseki, who was of the PDP as at that time, and may have ordered or may have said one or two in support of the APC candidacy. So many PDP stalwart leaving the PDP for APC to support Obabelo. Then you talked about Shuaibu, the then deputy to Obaseki, who is also a very strong member. Or a very strong politician.
Yes.
He has a lot of overbearing influence on the electorate from the Edo North, also moving and pitching tent. Then you talked about the former governor, Adams Oshomole, who was like the sun, behind the yam. So put all this together. Yeah, where are you expecting?
Ibinedium.
Please.
I can go on and mention names.
It's obvious. That's why I said it will be very difficult for them. Beyond anything they are thinking, I think the actual vote on ground, it may not have, tallied with what was declared due to some irregularities here and there. I'm saying it may not. I'm not certain about this. It may not have tallied. I'm talking about the result may not have reflected.
The overall results.
It may not have reflected the actual voting on the day. Maybe there might have been some kind of inflation of results or something like that. But at the end of the day, I believe that the actual vote on that day, favors the APC candidate Monday because of these other voting pattern factors that actually influence the election of that day.
All right, very well.